Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Her Retirement Live Thursday Lunch and Learn. I hope you are having a great week, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about retirement. Actually, I'm excited to talk to you about retirement milestones. So, yes, we have milestones throughout our life, financial milestones, personal milestones. But as we get closer to retirement, however we define retirement, there are a number of milestones that we are going to reach, hopefully celebrate, right? Because growing older is a privilege and we want to celebrate those milestones. But more importantly, is we want to make really good decisions. We want to make informed decisions, and sometimes we want some help with those decisions. But regardless of where you're at on your journey to retirement, regardless if you want to fully retire, semi-retire, never retire, you still are going to reach certain financial milestones. And it's important to understand what those are, what implications they have to each of them, and how do you make the right decision when you get to that milestone. So, a couple things before I jump into them, because I'm going to highlight those major milestones and talk to you about them today. I want to let you know that when you take my free masterclass, it's called Her Retirement Roadmap. It's a free 60-ish minute masterclass. You will get access to a printed version of the milestone chart. It's not very fancy because I just printed it off my printer. But basically, it shows you all of the different milestones. It actually starts at birth. So if you have kids or grandkids, the milestones, the milestones up to, I don't know, say 21, 24, 26 are relevant. Like 26 is a big financial milestone because it means that your dependent children can no longer be on your health insurance, just as an example. But when you participate in my free masterclass, there is a class portal, what I call it, with some complimentary materials to the masterclass, and you get access to that milestone chart. Okay. And I also want to let you know that I have a brand new version of the free masterclass that you can go check out on the website at herretirement.com. So I hope you all take advantage of that. The second thing I want to mention as it relates to milestones is that when you participate in a Her Retirement program, whether it's a retirement readiness program or some other program, you will get access to my retirement readiness software platform. If you haven't checked it out, again, I would encourage you to go check it out. I do offer a free preview to that. You can get access to that on the Her Retirement website. But one of the cool things as it relates to milestones was within the platform is that once you put in like your information, your name, and specifically your age and your email, which you do as you're registering for the platform, the software is actually going to email you when you are 6 months and a year and 1 month out from reaching a milestone. So let's say a year from a year from your birth date, like your 50th birth date, you're going to get an email that talks about a milestone called catch-up contributions. So each of those milestones that are in that chart, and some of them that I'm going to talk about today, you would get notified automatically through my software. So I kind of call it a financial nudge, if you will, to help remind you of that milestone, to help educate you what that milestone means so that you can make the most informed decision and take advantage of that opportunity presented by that milestone. Or you just decide, okay, I'm not going to make a decision, like 62, right? Social Security. First time you can claim Social Security unless you're disabled or unless you're a survivor, you can claim Social Security at 60 on if you're a widow and your spouse has passed away, as long as that benefit isn't greater than your own. Anyway, my point is that you are notified of those milestones automatically when you are part of part of the software platform, the Retirement Readiness platform. It's a subscription-based program. So if you don't participate in an ongoing coaching program through Her Retirement, you can subscribe to it outside of the programs and access all of the functionality. And there is a lot in there, but the milestone functionality is just one of them. So let's start with the big 50. Let's talk about that milestone. Once you attain the age of 50, individuals with specific qualified retirement plans can make what's called a catch-up contribution. So the government is nice to allow us after 50 to add a little extra to try to help us catch up. And they allow that in the form of $1,000. So let's say you have an IRA or a Roth IRA, the contribution limits across those accounts, you can't, it's $7,000. So you can't put 7 in a Roth and 7 in a traditional. It's 7,000 between them. But if you're over 50, you get a special gift, which is that catch-up contribution of $1,000. So that is a major milestone at 50. Also, you can catch up contributions in your 401ks and your 403bs, your thrift savings accounts, and your 457. And if you're over 50 and you participate in a simple 401k or a simple IRA because you're self-employed, you can also have a contribution catch up as well. If you want to know what all those limits are, because they change year to year, I also have a retirement planning cheat sheet. You can go to my library of free resources on my website, and you can access that free cheat sheet. It gives you all the retirement plan contribution limits. It gives you Social Security information, Medicare information, and taxes. It's like a 2-page, maybe it's 3-page at a glance of all these facts and figures that you need to know, because it's hard enough for me to remember them all, but it's a good handy tool to have at your disposal to see what all of those limits and contributions are in rules that change each and every year. So that is the 50 milestone. Let's talk about the next one, and it's one that I find that a lot of people actually haven't heard of. It's age 55. And like I said, a lot of people are unaware that at 55, you can make a withdrawal from your 401k. If you happen to leave a job for any reason, or if you're let go for any reason, you may be eligible to withdraw your funds without incurring any penalty, because what people normally think of is 59 and a half. They can't take anything out of those deferred retirement savings accounts before 59 and a half without that 10% penalty. But the rule of 55 allows you to do it if, and it's a big if your employer's plan allows it. Not all employer plans allow it. Now, one thing I want to caution you, however, is when you take advantage of the rule of 55, the whole idea is to try to keep that money in your retirement savings for when you retire. So if you are leaving your job to go to another job, it might be best to leave the money sit in that existing 401k until you get settled in your next job and decide if you want to roll that money over into your own personal IRA, roll it into the new plan. So sometimes it's best just to let it sit there until you get settled. Now, if you are, quote, retiring at 55 or 56, whatever, and you say, well, I want to take that money now, you just need to make sure that you're making the right decision, okay? Because like I said, it is for retirement, but it does give you an opportunity to take some of the money if you want, penalty-free, and then roll the rest into a plan. The other thing to note is that if you take it, right, let's say you take 10,000 out of 100,000 for whatever. Note that once you put that 100,000 into another tax deferred program, it's quote locked up until 59 and a half. So this is kind of like your one opportunity if you are rolling it into another tax deferred program. It's your one opportunity to take what you need, but I would caution you to take it for a very important purpose, because the whole idea is to have it for retirement. So if you take the money now, obviously you won't have it later. So it's a very individual situation. But the first thing you need to do if you're thinking about it is you need to check with your employer to see if the employer allows it as part of the plan. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about here? 59 and a half. Let's talk about the next milestone. Like I said at the outset, I think growing older is a privilege, and certain milestones represent a perk, so if you will. But 59 and a half is that typical age where you're allowed to take your funds without penalty from those deferred accounts. Now, one thing I want you to note is if you withdrew the money at 55, you avoid the penalty. If you're not rolling it into another qualified tax deferred account, you have to pay the taxes on it. So it's tax deferred until you take the money. So you will have to pay taxes on it at 55. Now, if you are withdrawing at 59 and a half, same thing, no penalty, but you will have to pay tax. Okay. What else? Yeah, if you're still employed, the other thing I want to point out is if you're still employed and you turn 59 and a half and you want to take what's called an in-service withdrawal, you want to take the money out, but you're still with that employer. Again, there are limitations on that. Not all employers allow you to do that. So you need to check with your employer to see if that's allowed. Okay. I always say it's good when you start this whole process, way back when or whatever, you start a new job, always meet with the 401k plan administrator and make sure you understand the ins and outs of your plan, because nothing worse than going, I heard Lynn talk about this rule of 55. Then you go talk to your employer and you're disappointed because they don't allow it. So really make sure as a first stop, if you're 50 and you're listening to this, go check into the plans. Or if you're changing jobs, right? I don't know how much of a consideration it would be, but find out what kind of plan they have and what are the rules around that particular plan. Okay. Next milestone, I mentioned it a little earlier, is 62. 62 is the first time you become eligible to claim Social Security on your record. And you need to note that if you claim at 62, your benefit is not 100%. It is reduced. Your benefit is not full benefit until your full retirement age. And for most people, that's around 66, 67 years old, depends on the year of your birth. But anyway, my point is that you really need to think about and make an informed decision whether you want or need to claim Social Security at 62, because it will continue to increase up until age 70. So if you take it at 62, it's about 70% of your full retirement amount. If you can wait or are willing to wait until 70, that's 124% of your full retirement benefit. So there's a big difference. Some people want to use their Social Security for income earlier in their life. Some people want to wait and have it get bigger, like an annuity, and use it for their after 70 life. Really, really depends. You need to get an analysis. You need to do a retirement income projection. You need to, integrate all these different income sources that you potentially can tap in retirement and make a data-based, informed decision versus just, oh, my brother-in-law told me I should claim it at 62, or my advisor at Fidelity, who's just managing my assets, said, take it when you want. Not the right, not the right answer, unfortunately. Anyway, also, the Social Security does increase every year through cost of living increase. So pretty much cost of living increases from the Social Security Administration have kept up with inflation, give or take a couple percentage points here and there. What we like to say is, I said 124% at 70. It's about 8% increase per year that you wait. Earlier, between 62 and full retirement age, it's like 5 to 6% increase. And then after full retirement age, it's a full 8%. Let's see. Also, very important to note that if you decide to take it at 62, but you're going to continue to work, sometimes that doesn't work in your favor, because if you're over the income limit for the year that you want to do this, you will have your Social Security reduced $1 for every $2 that you earn. So one of the key questions for Social Security is, do you plan to work? There's a number of questions. I actually have a Social Security kit for women. It's called hersocialsecurity.com. You go there, you can use the kit. It's like $17, but it has an e-class on Social Security. It's got decision trees, which kind of take you through questions to help you arrive at an initial answer on when you should claim Social Security. Again, I always say that you should have a retirement income projection done by a retirement advisor who can help you make that retirement income plan that will be sustainable for your whole life, in theory, right? That's the idea. All right, so that's 62. Let's see what the next one is. There's so many. I need this little cheat sheet here. Age 65. All right, age 65. And quick data point, there is like 11,000 people a day turning 65 over the next 5 years, maybe even longer. It's called Peak 65. It's the largest number of people in America turning 65 in the same amount of time. So our society is definitely aging. So good news is there's going to be a lot of other 65-year-olds. But yeah, if the whole thing about age 65 is Medicare. Now, one of the things that's always kind of baffled me is Social Security starts at 62, which can encourage people to retire at 62, but they don't have medical coverage until 65. So you have a 3-year gap. So one of the questions that's asked a lot is, how do I cover the gap? Well, there's a few different options for that. I'm not going to cover that today, but it is something to consider when you make that decision for Social Security or to stop working at 62. Be mindful of the fact that you don't get Medicare until 65. All right. It's really important to understand all your options for Medicare. If you delay enrolling in Medicare, you could face a penalty and a gap in coverage. So your initial enrollment period is important, and it means it's because it's called initial, it's the first time you can enroll. So if you're eligible for Medicare when you turn 65, you can enroll within a 7-month period that includes the 3 months before 65, the month of that you turn 65, and the 3 months after your birthday. You can even sign up for Part A, which is hospital insurance, if you have employer-based health insurance when you turn 65. So if you're still working and you have employer health insurance, you can delay Medicare. But before you make those decisions, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. If you're not working, it's a whole nother issue. It's important to note that for the majority of individuals who have paid Medicare taxes during their employment, there won't be a monthly premium for Part A. And I educate about Medicare. I have a whole Medicare webinar. If you want access to that webinar, just reach out to me, lynnt@herretirement.com, and I'll connect you with that Medicare webinar, because I educate on all things having to do with retirement. If you're currently receiving Social Security benefits, you're going to automatically be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. So if you're already receiving Social Security benefits, you're already enrolled in Part A and B. You can decline Part B, which is medical insurance coverage, as that does include an additional premium payment. So I think it's like $174 again a month. Again, that is on that retirement planning cheat sheet. You can see what that is, and it's income based. All right. If you don't have, so the Part B, you can decline it if you don't have coverage through an employer's health plan, and you can choose to enroll at a later time. Okay, important to note that. Yeah, so Medicare is a maze. It's pretty complicated, parts A, B, C, D, Z, whatever. No, there's no Z. But my point is it's pretty complicated. I actually have I have two Medicare expert. One's an individual consultant, and I have two companies actually that help you figure out your Medicare plan. They are Medicare insurance providers, but they take the time to go through all the options with you and help you select the best plan for you. One other quick point that I want to make about Medicare, and I believe this is on my milestone chart, and it is not on this document. Actually, I need to add it to my milestone chart because it is an important date or year. 63. 63 is important, and I'll tell you why. When you file for Medicare, they're going to base the amount you pay on your tax return from 2 years prior, because they're kind of behind 2 years, basically. So they're going to look at your tax return from 2 years prior. So let's assume 65. So they're going to look at your tax return from 63, that year you turned 63, to determine the cost of your Medicare. Lots of things impact your income. So if you're over a limit, you could end up paying what's called an IRMA, Auntie Irma, some people call it, but it's an income-related monthly adjustment amount. And if you are a higher income person in retirement, you could end up being charged a Medicare premium. All right. Again, I also have a webinar on IRMA, so you understand that. Now, what you pay changes each year. So, let's say 63 is higher because you didn't know, you didn't plan properly, you didn't have some money in some accounts that don't impact Medicare premiums, which those are some strategies. So if you are a higher income earner, there are ways to avoid IRMA. But again, you need to work with an IRMA certified planner. We have two on my team that can help you avoid IRMA if you're a higher income individual. So 63 is an important date for that reason, because it's the first time that Medicare is going to look at what you made for income and base that first year premium on age 63. Very important. And I'm going to add that to my milestone chart. All right, ages 65 to 67. This is what I said earlier, is when people can receive their full Social Security benefit. My full retirement age is 67. So again, you're benefiting from that increase if you wait from 62 even to 63, 64, 65, 60, and if you get to full retirement age, you're at 100% of your benefit, plus the cost of living increases you're going to get. In 2023, the maximum benefit at full retirement age was $3,627. I don't have the number for 2024 in front of me. It's unlikely that, a lot of people will qualify for this much in Social Security benefits, but you can have a strategy to maximize your benefits. And a couple things you need to do before you get to these milestones, these Social Security milestones. You really need to make sure you look at your Social Security statement and make sure it's correct, make sure it's accurate. Number two is you need to make sure that you don't have any extra situations that would allow you to maximize the benefit that you weren't aware of. So on my TikTok channel, I have like uh, hundreds of videos, 92,000 followers, and I talk about Social Security a lot. But there are marital claiming strategies. If you're divorced, there's ex-spousal benefits you may be uh, eligible for. There's widow benefits. There's lots of different strategies if you're not like just straightforward, single person, just wanting to collect Social Security on your own. There are potential other claiming strategies depending upon your situation. So it's important to check your Social Security statement, make sure it's accurate, and to understand all of your options depending on your situation. I was talking to a woman last week, and she said, "Oh, I've got my Social Security statement and my husband's. My income's been higher, but my Social Security benefit is lower." I was like, you need to call Social Security or go to a local Social Security office and find out what is going on with that. Sounds off. Let's see. It's worth noting that only Americans age 60 and above who have not claimed their benefits and have not set up an online account will receive their statements by mail. Okay, so to create an online account, you can look for a letter with an activation code or visit the Social Security Administration's website at ssa.gov. When you take my class, it's one of the homework assignments I give you is to go find out what Social Security benefits you may be eligible for. Okay, so we've got a few more here. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to here. Sorry for the paper crinkling in the back. Let's see. If you're one quick thing back on Medicare, if you are not currently enrolled in Social Security, you can apply for Medicare at 64 and 9 months. Okay, so a few months before 65 is when you claim Social Security. And I have the numbers right here for full retirement age. If you're born between 1943 and 54, 66 is your full retirement age. If born in 1955, it's 66 plus 2 months. 1956, 66 and 4 months. 1957, 66 and 6 months. And 1958, 66 and 6 months. 1959, 66 and 6 months. In 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. All right. Another milestone is that 70, that is your maximum Social Security benefit. So I had another woman reach out to me, and she said, younger woman, and she said, my dad is 73 and he hasn't claimed Social Security yet. So how much more is he going to get? And I was like, well, it doesn't continue to go up benefit wise after age 70. So he kind of missed out. So anyway, so I'm like, have him claim right away. So there's no benefit in waiting until after 70. At 70 and a half, see, I don't have this here, but at 70 and a half, you're eligible to make qualified charitable distributions. And I will provide more information on that. We may even do a session on that. And then at 73 is the required minimum distribution age, but that will change to 75 in 2033. All right. So with the Secure Act 2.0 that passed at the end of 2022, there were changes to required minimum distributions. Starting in 2023, they are now at 73, and it will further increase to 775. Okay. What are required minimum distributions, or RMDs? These are mandatory distributions that apply to various qualified retirement plans like 401ks, 403bs, profit sharing plans, money purchase pensions, IRAs, simple IRAs, and SEP IRAs. So as a result of this RMD rule going later, because it was 70 and a half before, retirees have more time to allow their retirement savings to grow in a tax-free manner. But real quick, back to that Medicare example. One of the issues is maybe Medicare, 63, you didn't have, a significant amount of income that made your Medicare go up high enough where you get an IRMA surcharge. However, it can get dangerous when you get closer to those RMD ages because you are required to take money out of those tax-deferred accounts. And that's when it can trigger IRMA. So let's say you've been getting along in retirement for, a few years, 5 years, whatever. And then all of a sudden you're taking this income out of these tax-deferred accounts and it creates, I don't know, $300, $400, $500 IRMA surcharge. Again, it's for people, let's for sake of argument, over $100,000. But you can see between Social Security and if you have, rental income and you have these distributions, it could push you over that limit. So it's really, really important to project out what your income is going to look like if you aren't taking those required minimum distributions until your 70s, how that could impact and give you an extra line item in your budget that you didn't have to have. There are ways to avoid that, all right? It's through tax planning, really important. So make sure if you are a candidate for higher income in retirement, either, through whatever means, you make sure that you work with a retirement advisor to know how that would impact you. RMDs represent the minimum amount that you must withdraw each year because the government has said, okay, we formed a partnership back when you opened your tax deferred account. And now that partnership is, I'm the partner, I'm the IRS, I'm the government. You've been putting money in here tax deferred. Now it's time to pay the piper. You have to pay. But even though they require a minimum amount, you always have the option to withdraw more if you desire. Okay. But some people require less and they don't have to withdraw as much. But bear in mind, when you take those withdrawals from those traditional retirement accounts that are tax deferred, it could lead to a higher tax burden and the loss of tax-free growth from the withdrawn funds. Obviously, you're saving it for retirement, so you want to withdraw it. But that's why you need a retirement income plan and a retirement withdrawal plan, or how you're going to create that paycheck and what impact will it have on you in the taxes you pay and Social Security and Medicare and the whole thing. It all works together as a puzzle. So you have to understand the interaction between it all and make sure that you are making informed, data-driven decisions. Also, really important to note that failing to take an RMD can result in penalties. So if you forgot or you don't have an advisor looking out for you, because at the advisory firm I co-own, we gently remind people you got to take your RMD or you get hit with a tax penalty. And it's probably the largest penalty in the tax code. In 2023, there is a 25% penalty based on the RMD amount that you should have taken. RMDs are calculated based on the total balances of all your IRAs, your 401ks, and other traditional retirement plans as of December 31st the previous year. So, it's really, really important to not just work with like a financial advisor on all this, but a retirement advisor who also understands taxes, okay? On the advisory team that I co-own, we have 2 CFPs who are really, really good at tax planning, in addition to, overall retirement planning. So, having this knowledge and being reminded of these dates, either through my platform or through an advisor who's going to make sure you don't miss any of these important dates, or sticking this on your fridge alongside the pictures of your grandkids, um, is important. But if you want technology to keep you on track, definitely check out my retirement readiness platform because it will do that for you. And, connect with me if you want a planner. I'll connect you. Or if you just want to get educated about all of this, that's what the Her Retirement platform is all about. In addition, I can coach you and get you ready, take complete inventory of everything you have, walk through, what you're thinking, what you're worried about, and try to help you avoid the stress and the worry about thinking about retirement. One of the things I hear from women all the time is two things. One is, I want to try to figure out how not to run out of money and be a bag lady. My mom's favorite expression was, nobody wants to be a bag lady. And I don't know, I forgot the second thing. But the worry is real. And that's why it's important before you get to retirement. I had a woman reach out to me and she was like, oh, I turned 59 and a half like 6 months ago, and I don't know what to do with my 401k. Well, it was great that she reached out at that point. But before you get to 60, I would say 5 to 10 years out, you need to be thinking about this and planning, thinking about the plan, because 10 years out, there's some interesting things that you can do. 5 years out, there's still things you can do and planning that you need to do to make your plan as sustainable and efficient as possible. And of course, when you start your first job, you want to be funding those retirement savings accounts and other strategies, right? There's other ways to save for retirement and invest for retirement outside of those tax deferred accounts, which is important. You don't want to have all your eggs in that basket. And another question that people often ask me is about other ways to save for retirement. So an HSA is another way to save for retirement. And it just gave me a thought to add HSAs to the milestone chart, because there's certain regulations and rules about HSAs, when you can take the money out, when you can, when you have to stop contributing to an HSA. And I'm going to add that to the milestone chart. So thanks for the reminder. Anyway, be aware of these milestones. Get the chart, get my software, get a subscription, work with a retirement advisor, whatever you need to do to make sure that you are aware, educated, and make the best decisions about milestones. And before I finish up, I do want to highlight the last episode of my podcast, which came out last week. I want you to take a listen because it is a great conversation with Dr. Wade Pfau. I quote him a lot in my classes and in my content because he is one of the, if not the top retirement researcher in the country. And he has this wealth of knowledge. He doesn't advise people one-on-one. He's, doesn't sell insurance, and, he's not going to try to sell you an investment. He's all about educating people. He's also on the staff at the American College of Financial Services. And he just also launched last year this new tool that I'm going to be using when I work with women, that helps you identify your retirement income style awareness. And with this tool, he talks about it in the podcast, so you can learn more about it. I don't want to ruin the tell you the big secret that he talks about in the podcast. So go listen to that podcast, hear what Dr. Wade Pfau has to say about women, money, retirement, and some of the work that he's been doing in his tool he has created. So I think I am done for today talking about milestones. And I got to go work on the milestone chart and add a few things to it. And I really, really appreciate you watching this live, or if you're watching the replay, again, reach out to me, linty@herretirement.com, or check out the herretirement.com website. Tons of resources, free, low fee, affordable fee. There's a range of options to help women know more, have more, and live more. So my last question for you for today is, would you like to get her done? I'm ready when you are. Thanks for watching.